Hello, and welcome to MS Journey with Christopher. I today would like to talk about symptoms and what MS looks like for me a little bit. Now, MS is one of those, it can plague people for a really long time without people actually knowing. Little symptoms come about. I had symptoms clear back as far as childhood. However, we did not know this. I never told anybody. I just thought it was funny, kind of weird, certain little things. Um, it all started probably years ago, a little bit of brain fog. It would start with things like in my brain, I would search for a word and it started coming out like the wrong word. I coined a little term that I like to call speech dyslexia. I would say the wrong word or say it wrong, and it would always turn into a joke. In a serious conversation, I would do it, and then the conversation would quickly devolve, and I couldn't keep up. This got worse and worse and worse till about 12 years ago. It really started getting bad. 10 years ago. I also started discovering things like tremors and shakes. Those I've had since literally childhood. Sometimes you can put your toes, you can put pressure on the balls of your feet when you put them down, and your knee just bounces and bounces and shakes. Well, I had no idea that that was a neurological condition. And so when I was a kid, I would just reposition my foot and it would go away. I never said anything to anybody because I never thought anything about it, to be quite honest. And then probably around 2014 ish or so, maybe a little earlier, I started having back pain. And it was, pretty debilitating after a while. It started like no like slow and very, numbing, that dull pain, and then it started to escalate. Well, what I found out years later is that it was muscle spasms. I had gone to the doctor several times and had complained about my back pain, and they tried to send me in for MRIs without contrast, and which everybody with MS knows you need MRIs with and without contrast so we can see lesions. Well, they tried to send me in for back problems as if something was wrong with my spine because I could just describe it as pain. And the muscles that run along the long muscles in your back were super tight. I would describe it as two rubber bands completely just stretched to their maximum. And that's what my muscles would feel like. And this was all day, every day. At one point, I was taking 8, 10 ibuprofen a day to, no avail really. I didn't know what was wrong. Um, my anxiety at this point was starting to become off the charts. That's another thing I had been dealing with for 10 or 15, 20 years. Since childhood was my anxiety and what my anxiety looks like. For me, my anxiety comes out in anger because the embarrassment and frustration which I have in my head that I can't get out due to the brain fog, I can't find the right words. And so it's very, very frustrating. But however, I finally got into the doctor, and the doctor tried sending me for MRIs, and there was no contrast, and I didn't have insurance at the time, and so I was refusing to go get the MRIs because they were refusing to tell me the cost of the MRIs. I did not have insurance and quickly found out I did not have $3,000. So I didn't get the MRIs. Flash forward, my family moved back. They hadn't been living in the state at the time, and I was getting more and more progressively sick, and I was having major drop foot issues. They were intermittent. They would come and go. Turns out as I got heated and I'd be walking, and then they would go away. I was driving a 6-speed vehicle. I owned my own business. Things were going pretty good. However, as things progressed, I was lying to myself. Maybe I have a pinched nerve. That's what I was really, really hoping. Is I had a pinched nerve and it could be fixed. That's why my walking was bad and my back pain. I didn't know anything about brain fog. I was super busy at work. I was easily working 60 plus hours a week. My business partner and I, who he worked even more than I did. So we were quite busy and past our heads in stress, which many of you with MS understand. Stress is not a good thing for us. But I finally went in to my doctor and I was a little bit angry. And at this point, I was walking with a cane. I had visible muscle atrophy. And my doctor goes, "Oh, I can see your muscle atrophy. I'll send you in for an MRI with and without contrast." Now, he said send me in for an MRI, so we had a heated discussion because he didn't really explain it. And so that's a lot of my issue was communication with my doctor. I could not explain things very well, and he did not explain things very well. So once I got in for the MRI, I got up to, let me look at my notes here. I got, let's see, when was it? 7/16/2018. I got an MRI of my thoracic spine with and without contrast. It showed multiple patchy areas, which, I didn't understand what those were at the time, so it kind of worried me. And then let's see, what else does it say here? Multiple patchy areas, abnormal T2 signal throughout my thoracic cord. Well, that sounded very worrisome to me, and I had no idea. But they also did an MRI of my brain with and without contrast. And it showed, let me see, multiple areas of abnormal signal processing. The findings are extremely concerning for demyelinating disease, specifically multiple sclerosis. So when I got that information back from the doctor that did my MRI, I was extremely scared. My whole life kind of came crashing down at once on me. So I made an appointment with my doctor, and he quickly gave me a referral to my local neurologist. Long story short, I had seen this neurologist in the past related to my walking issue with my gait that was on and off at the time, and he wasn't understanding. He was checking for a signal between my lower back and my leg. Well, I was going to go back to the same neurology clinic, and I quickly found out from my small town of 22,000 people, they were very, very busy. Too busy to get me in within reason. I had talked to my family and I had shown concerns because I had been to this doctor and I feel like the doctor wasn't very empathetic or understanding. So I asked for a referral to Oregon Health Sciences University in Portland. Well, that is about 3 hours from me, but they got me in immediately. As soon as they got the referral, I got in to see my doctor. Well, a neurologist. It ended up not being mine. He was, turns out, one of the heads of the neurology, but he saw me, and that appointment was about 2.5 hours. And they tested my hand-eye coordination and my walking and ran me through a series of questions. At the end of it, he was a little serious, and he was like, "Well, this is a serious matter, and I'm going to refer you to the MS department of Oregon Health Sciences University." So I was super scared. I was in shell shock. I had severe brain fog by this time. By the time everything had come in, I had drop foot, severe brain fog, fatigue, everything come to a head. So my mind was just spinning from this appointment. My family had to do a lot of talking, asking questions. I was just kind of out of it and in shock. So they referred me then 9/6/18 That's when I got my official diagnosis. So I ended up with an appointment and I got lucky. My family and I got very lucky. I was referred to Dr. Dennis Bordet, who many people in MS know as an MS researcher. He runs a clinic in Portland, he's written books. So I got to see him, and that appointment was very long. I saw them and they did a series of hand-eye coordination, walking tests, much more intense than my first visit. So with that, they diagnosed me with MS, relapsing remitting MS. They prescribed me Tecfidera, MS medication, and they got me on anxiety medication. That was a huge, huge issue. MS has affected brain fog and my anxiety more than I can explain. Only my doctors pretty much understand what I'm talking about. People with brain fog and MS, you guys will definitely understand how difficult it is. So that was a little preemptive kind of how my MS went. We'll learn later how my symptoms have bothered me for many, many years, on and off. But that's a little bit about my story, and I hope this helps anybody that might watch. I want you to know that it's your health. So you talk to your doctors, and it's about you. At this point, don't feel that you're going to be an inconvenience. No one's going to listen to you. If you have to, I urge you to find a doctor that will listen, or somebody. Look into MS, look into the tests that they're giving you. Just learn everything you can. Thank you, and I hope to see you next time.